Hello, this is Subas. In today's lesson, we are going to learn about the queen moves. Okay, right. The queens, the white queen and the black queens, okay, they are really one of the most powerful pieces on the board. Okay, there's a good reason for that because the queens can fly like the rooks and the bishop, and they can go in straight line across the colored squares, just like the rook, but also they can actually fly diagonally on any colored squares, like the bishops. So they have the function of both the rooks and the bishop together, and for that reason the queen is very powerful. Okay, and usually when people promote a pawn, and you know about pawn promotion, when it reaches the opponent's row right at the very end of the board, then there's a chance to be promoted into any of the pieces like rook, knight, bishop, or the queen. Usually they go for the queen. So the queen, as I said, is quite powerful. Okay, now we're going to quickly talk about the queen's move. Right. Okay. So, and of course, just to remind you that it can actually, at the beginning of the game, it doesn't have to worry about pawns which appears to be in the way, because it actually jumps over them. Okay. So now the queen's move. So I got the queen. Let's say for some reason I managed to get the queen over here. Okay, and I managed to get this black queen perhaps over there. Okay, and how does the queen move? The queen always moves. Okay, it flies just like the rook. It can fly straight across the colors. What I mean by that is colored square. So across the white square and the dark square like this. Okay, and it can go backwards like this. It's either one square or many squares, depending on what squares are available for it to move. There's nothing in the way. Okay, if there's something in the way, then that's a different matter. For instance, the queen can't go all the way and jump up on top and land in the square. It can't do that, because if it's there, it's going over there, it's going to meet an obstacle. But it's an opponent piece, and if it really wants to, it can actually go there and take the opponent piece. Okay, so that's what it does. Okay, right, so that's how the queen actually moves. Okay, but it can, so that's going there. It can move obviously sideways, just like the rook. It can move sideways, it can straight, or it can go backwards. Okay, whatever it is, as long as there's space, squares, empty squares for it to move. Okay, but it can also move diagonally. Now the queen, from starting position, okay, where its starting position is actually on a dark colored square, so it can, if it wants to, it can actually move diagonally. So it can go this way on the dark square itself. Okay, it can go there. What it can't do is like go like this. It can't do that, change a square color and then move there. If it wants to move diagonally on this square, so it will then have to go one square up. Then it's a black's turn to move, and then the next turn it can then decide to move on the white square diagonally. Okay, or if it doesn't want to behave like the bishop, it can move straight across and behave like a rook. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so that's important, right? The same thing applies to the black queen, very similar. So the black queen can decide it's on a white square at this moment in time. So the next time the white queen moves, it can move diagonally as if it's one of its bishops on this light square or white colored square, or it can move across just like a rook, behaves like a rook, and move straight across. I think that's really that's what it is. And if obviously it can't move to this square, or because this pawn is in the way, okay, so it can't do that. but obviously it can, if it wants to, go all the way up there, and or it can go further than that. And if it wants to go further than that, then obviously it's going to cut and take or capture the piece. See, that's the only way it can actually end up in that particular square. And obviously then if he wants to take this bishop, okay, it won't be the black queen's turn, be the white's move, and then the black queen's turn, and then it might want to actually take this bishop. Okay, right. This is quite unusual because it's next to the king, but I'm not going to talk about it right at this moment. It's to be slightly different, okay? But anyway, so that's how the queen actually behaves. And obviously, how do you get the queen out on the board? So just like for the rook and the bishop, okay, the queen cannot move out of its original position if there are pieces in the way. Okay, remember it can't move to a square where its own piece, just like for the bishop and the rook. Okay, so if the queen wants to, the white starts first. If the queen actually wants to move, okay, so first you have to move something out of it. Let's say it's white's turn, so decide to move the pawn, 1 square, 2 square, decide to move 2 squares over there. Now it's the black's turn. Okay, so black decides to move this pawn is to meet there. So it's like a challenging and say, do you want to take me? Okay. And now, let's say the white actually wants to move the queen. He can, because now there's space for it to move. Squares, empty squares for it to move. So the queen can decide to move 1 square, or I can fly to 2 square. Remember, it can fly. So 2 square. What is actually available? Just like a rook, it can behave like a rook. Okay. All right. Okay. So decide to go there. Now that's as far as it can go. It can go to 1 square, 2 squares. Can't go anywhere else. Okay. That's the only choice it has. Okay. Now this queen says, right. Okay. I can't fly like a rook, behave like a rook, because I'm gonna there is this pawn in the way. Okay, but I can go diagonally like a bishop, sitting on in this, as if it's sitting on a dark colored square. So I can go diagonally like that. Okay, or like that. Right. Okay, and now the queen is out of the way. Queen is the white's turn. The queen can now decide to go diagonally this way, or I can go across the squares just like a rook, or go this way and challenge this queen. I can go there and let's put it over there and challenge this queen. Okay, I can do that. Okay, and then the queen, this is black's turn now, and the black queen says, oh well, okay, I will take you. Okay, so the only way we're going to do is move on to the square where this white queen sits. When it does that, it actually captures the queen. Okay, and then white is worried it's lost the queen, very important piece, but doesn't have to, because now you got the pawn. It's the white's turn now. You got this white pawn in there, and it can take a piece diagonally. Okay, so it says, I got a queen, got a square next to touching this square, so I can take this queen diagonally, and there you are. So each of us has taken their own squares. So that's really it, actually. Simple. The queen moves, quickly explained, really. Not much to say for the queen's move. Okay. Obviously, if I decide, let's say I start this game again, I move this pawn over there, for instance, and then let's say decide to move the black decide to move that pawn. Okay, and then white moves this pawn over there. Okay, and then it's the queen's turn. The queen can decide first. It wants to come out onto this board, but first it got to move there first. Okay, can't straight away come out over there. Can't jump over anything because this pawn is in the way, so you've got to come over there. Can't go past this pawn because this pawn is in the way, so you've got to come over here first. Okay, and now this queen, the white queen, has a choice. It can either go on the onto this behave as if it's a bishop sitting on a light colored square, so you can either go this way or you can decide to go this way, just like a bishop sitting on a light colored or white square. So you might decide to go this way. Okay, or he might doesn't want to challenge the queen, he might go and sit over there. Okay, so that's how it actually works. Right, I think that's the queen's move, fairly rapidly explained. Okay, nothing else to say about that actually. Right, okay, so let's do that. So put the queen back and let's put all the pieces back. Okay. Right, so the next lesson will be the final chess piece, which will be the king. Alright, so until then, goodbye.